United Kingdom, and you're watching ESC Fan TV.
Hello, it's Monday night. That must mean it's time for ESC Fan TV Bite-Size, an opportunity to round up and wrap up some of the latest Eurovision news that's been going on over the last week. I have to say, guys, I think, I don't want to say the common linnet started something, but it does feel a bit like the calm before the storm. Not after the storm, the calm before the storm. Because there's going to be so many entries dropping this week. I think next week we may start to lose count. But tonight you can expect to hear about Slovenia, about Portugal, Ukraine, Belgium, France, and we're even going to just see what the UK rumour mill has to offer. Because, hey, why not entertain it just for a little while? Now, as always, don't forget to click the like and subscribe button. And also, don't forget to comment into the chat room as well. We love to hear you. Don't forget, we've already got people in there that you can chat to as well. We've got Random Danish Guy, hello. And also, he's saying hello to Michael Rice there as well, reviving one of our idents from last year. And also a big hi to Stu as well, who's sat in the chat room. Now, he's saying, ooh, the Harrisons are in the house. So, whilst we meet the panel, let's go straight to Phil and Michelle. Hey, guys.
Hi.
It's fantastic to see you on the panel. Are you looking forward to looking at this smorgasbord of stuff this evening?
Yes, I'm thrilled.
Yes, definitely. I think we've kind of skipped a few national finals here that have been quite good.
They have been, haven't they? There's been some interesting stuff going on. Which is quite good. Also joining us, we've got David. Good evening, David.
Good evening.
Hey, great to see you. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on Portugal. You're our Portugal expert. We are very much looking forward to hearing from you later as well. And also, we've got the lovely Jo. Good evening,
Hello.
Jo.
Hi, my friend. Are you okay?
I'm okay. It's everyone else, I think. That's what I'm going on. I think it's the anticipation of knowing that we've been covering lots of national finals, that the UK entry is going to drop this week. So it's a bit like squeaky bum time. Hello again to Martin, who's in the chat room. We've got John Boy in the chat room who's speaking in French, but bonsoir, I know, means good evening. I don't know the rest.
That means my and
is it my friends.
That's mon ami, so
I don't know. I don't know. Lee Fern as well. We're saying good evening to Lee as well. And Martin's complimenting you on your curtains, Phil and Michelle as well.
Well, he's an idiot.
Anyway, right, guys, let's move on straight away. Right, in Slovenia this weekend, they selected their entrant for Eurovision. It's going to be Anna Soklik with the song Voda. Now, the two songs were whittled down by jury. And let's take a look at both of the songs the jury selected. And then I've got a few questions for you as well. Let's take a look.
Because of you, I can sleep at night. You're constantly on my mind. I wish that you would me die. Another look at something new, but I'll never find another like you.
Okay, so two songs that the jury picked. I think the first question is, did the jury pick the right two? Who wants to take the question first? Shall we go to Joe?
I knew you'd come to me. Yeah, I don't think they did at all. Personally, I was going for the rock songs. I'll be honest, and you knew that from the review. Yeah, I think based on an overall stage performance, I mean, I thought Anna did amazing. In fact, I think they both did amazing in that respect. But yeah, I would have definitely have gone on from the studio versions on the rock classics, and I thought that I'm trying to think, was it Inmate? I thought they were absolutely brilliant, and yeah, I think they probably should have gone through instead. But it's not, they're not jury bait, are they? Let's face it, and Anna and Lena both are. So I think from their point of view, they chose the right two.
This is true. Phil and Michelle, what's your take on this?
Well, I'm kind of agreeing with Joe. I really like Inmate with the Salt. I think it was just playing it a bit safe to have a jury only picking 2 songs for the public to select. You know, I think the right song won of the 2. Anna sang that well. She sang it like she meant it. But I think Lena was a bit of a safe option. Wasn't great live. You know, it was all right, but it was just safe.
No, I didn't like it. I thought she was rubbish. But I like the winner. I like Anna. I thought she was a striking looking woman. And when she looked down the camera, you sort of connected with her. She had, you know, there was something about her that I quite liked. Which is unusual because normally it's just a bit, you know, a slow song, you know, a bit of ballady. But I thought she was. I put down she's a striking looking woman, and I think when she looks down the camera at Eurovision, she might make a bit of an impact.
I do think that. I think, do you know what? Looking at her performance, she's got a real command of that stage. And if they're going to take the background to Rotterdam, especially given the fact they've announced they're having this flash, is it semi-transparent LED screen in Rotterdam or something as well? I think there's some massive potential there for a staging that is going to really just kind of be just big and bold. Yeah. And that song as well, I mean, let's face it, she's got a pair of lungs on her. I mean, she can really, really, you know, do something with it. David, was Voda the right choice for Slovenia?
Slovenia, okay. I say from the studio cuts, Lena was the best. I just hear the studio cuts from Lena. Didn't watch it live, actually. But yeah, I think I think they picked right because I know, but Anna's improved very good live. She has a very good voice, but you know, I don't know. I think they picked right, but I don't know. The winner, I think she deserves it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think she deserves the victory. And you know what? I think let's get behind her. I think she's going to be quite good. And let's not forget last year as well, they showed off massively with their staging. I have to say, you know, and I'm sure Stu is watching and he'll agree that, you know, the Slovenian entry was one of his favourites last year. I do believe he tipped it for the win. Nothing to do with the fact of who was singing it, of course. Now, don't forget to keep your comments coming in the chat room. We've got Karen's in there. Karen's is saying, answering to the question, I preferred rock as well, but Voda was really good too. Martin Palmer, don't know about going big. Asking Stuart that she is tall enough. Interesting as well. Random Danish guy reckons the interval acts, including the intro with the host, was better than the songs. And Lee reckons it's a boring entry. Oh, Lee, come on. We can get behind this. We can like this one. Guys, I think that is Slovenia done. Ta-da! Right. that must mean you're thinking to yourselves, where are we headed next? Well, from the east, we now travel to the west. And here's a fascinating fact for you. I found out this week, and I didn't know this, that in actual fact, Lisbon is the furthest west the Eurovision Song Contest has gone, but by only 300 metres. I may have picked that up from a magazine available to all OJ UK members. It's from our Vision magazine. But just to prove now, there's the record. You know, for the record, I do read it. Yeah, and it takes the title from Mill Street in Ireland, which of course hosted the contest in 1993. Whether Ireland will be hosting again, who knows? We've got a little while to go, I think, before Ireland win again. And maybe a little bit longer before their entry drops. Hi to ESC Play, who is in the chat room as well. And do you know what, guys? Should we just give everyone a wave in the chat room as well? I think we should. Let's just give them a wave as well. Now, we are going to go off to Portugal in a moment. But what we'll do first is we'll just take a quick look at Ukraine. Now, they selected their entry on Saturday night as well. They've gone for Goa with Solove. Now, there was some tough competition here, and I have to say the biggest shock was that for me personally, was that the Ukraine just didn't go vegan. Let's take a quick look at the possibilities.
Baby, 'cause I'm vegan. I can even call you honey.
Memory, my life, I felt so strong. Ever since you've been by the bonfire.
Don't be shy.
Okay, so that was the Ukraine finishing off there with Goa, with Salabe. And guys, was it the right choice in Ukraine on Saturday night? Phil and Michelle.
I didn't watch it.
That's honest.
Which one did they pick?
Well, they picked Goa with Solove, which was the
Yes, I did hear this one. I heard this one, and it reminded me of the screeching Polish women, and I really didn't like it. I'm sorry, but that was the wrong choice. And I didn't like vegan either because I like bacon. But yeah, they should have had David Axelrod because he got a cool name.
Well, going by the clips, that David bloke, he was quite tasty, wasn't he? I'd have voted for him. Yeah.
I have to say, I was quite happy to see Solove win. Martin Palmer offering a comment. Solove just cuts through my head in a way that Tulia didn't. I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that one, Martin.
Good or bad?
Very, 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 very interesting. Lena reckons that the best was vegan. Karen says really loved vegan and it was robbed. Random Danish guy says vegan was iconic. Well, what can we say? I think that Solove is an interesting choice. I would say it's an interesting choice. Joe, what's your take on it?
I think in a way it was probably predictable because it's a shame really in a way, but yeah, it was a little bit predictable. I quite like the song, I have to say. It wasn't certainly my top by any means, but the more I'm listening to it now, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, this is better than this country, and I'm thinking, yeah, and gradually it's moving up my list and rankings. I quite like several songs. I like 99. Is it 99? Was it?
99,
yeah. I can't pronounce the name because obviously it's Yeah, I don't know. I just sort of thought it was a bad song at all, not a bad choice. And can I just say that I really love the fact that when they found out they got it, she just broke down, didn't she? She got really sort of emotional, which means that it means a lot to them to actually be at Eurovision, and that's what some of these artists want. Slovenia was the same, Anna was the same in Slovenia, and it is really nice to see.
Mm. And do you know what? There's some interesting comments in the chat room. Andy Brooks said, could it be the first time Ukraine doesn't qualify? But also, I have to say, more importantly, as pointed out, it's the first time they're sending a song entirely in Ukrainian.
Wow.
Which is going to be interesting, I think. And that could be, it's going to go one of two ways. Lee Fern said, I can't see Ukraine qualifying. That voice is awful. What a screech. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, Tulia did do reasonably well last year. Okay, they failed to qualify out the semi-finals, but, never mind. Jason, viewing us on Twitter, says, any ideas of who the UK representative is? Well, Jason, we're going to have a discussion later on in the show to see what we think the UK rumour mill's saying. But, of course, we know as much as I think most other people do, which is basically tune in to BBC Radio 1 and 2 at 9:30 to 10 o'clock on Thursday morning, and we can find out then. But we'll be having a discussion later on, and we'll be looking for your thoughts on that as well. Obviously, there's going to be other Ukrainian song reviews coming up on ESC Fan TV when we do our song review shows coming up later next month. So, guys, I think we can safely say we've bite-sized Ukraine, and that is Ukraine done. Now, guys, let's move ourselves on to the one country that I'm sure everyone is dying to talk about. It's Portugal. Portugal had their first semi-final on Saturday evening, and there were 4 qualifiers to the grand final taking place in a couple of weeks. Felipe Sambade with Gabara Amarela do Sui, which I've probably not pronounced right at all. Barbara Tinoco, Passepartout, Alicia Mido de Santia, and Throws and the Shine, Movimento. Let's take a listen to them and then get your thoughts.
Mas agora tenho medo.
Levo, vivo, muda em movimento. Refém do toque, define o pensamento. Consolado pro tio, ó tio, tô tão consolado.
Eu que te mostrei a lua com Jorge Meyer. Eu que te mostrei a vida longe da TV.
Oh, right. Let's go straight to David. David, are you there? He's frozen. I can't believe it. We're going to have to come back to David in a moment. Do you know what, Joe? Let's go to you instead. Let's start you off. Portugal, what do we think of the qualifiers they're sending through?
Yeah, they're not. 3 of them are not who I would have chosen. Passepartout was definitely one that I would have chosen, and she is right at the top of my list, or second. My big favourite was Blasted, and it's annoying that it didn't get through because I don't know, they performed it amazing live, and I just sat there just thinking, yeah, this is a definite qualifier. How can it not be perfect? It's going to qualify for the finals and do like top 10 at Eurovision. Oh yeah, we got the winner. Then I went to bed, woke up thinking, because I fell asleep at the end before we were waiting for the voting. Woke up next morning, looked at, first thing I looked at was who qualified, and they weren't there. And it's such a shame. And I liked Ian as well. Was it Ian? And he did go through, and I don't know. It's a predictable 4, I think, is the word I'm looking for.
I mean, I would say predictable, I find it very interesting to note that two of the songs are almost very similar to last year's Telemovis,
Yes.
which is interesting in itself, I think.
Yes. Especially the guy, who is it? The guy with all the makeup on and things. That he's the guy that. Yeah, he's the guy. When I was listening, I thought he really is a copycat of Conan. So it's a shame. It's a shame, really.
Interesting.
But
Phil and
Barbara,
Michelle,
no.
what's your take on Portugal?
But to be honest, I really like Barbara. The only thing was, I thought it was proper old school. In fact, I thought I'd been roped into doing Retrovision with Andy again. I like Andy, I love it really. But yeah, it was lovely. It was a lovely song. It was a bit 60s. Felipe, as Joe said, it was bonkers. It was a bit Conan 2.0. But the actual song, I didn't think that was great. It was a bit style over substance. And as for Throws and the Shine, I thought the best thing about that was the guy's glasses. I have been wondering what Flavor Flav has been doing recently, and I guess now we know.
That's one for the youth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be worse. I could have made Ollie from on the buses.
Right. I've got Barbara. I loved it. I liked it. It was nice and quirky. It stood out. I quite like that. Is it Elisa or Eliza?
Yeah.
Boring. Didn't like it. Felipe, barking mad. Bloody loved it. Throws, super bendy man. Didn't mind that. He had an unusual beat as well. I like that. I like the bendy man. Mira, nope. Ian, nope. Blasted, yeah, quite like that. And Jazz, nobody likes Jazz.
Well, that's interesting. That is an interesting choice. Now, I think my favourite, I mean, and this will come as no surprise to anyone at all. I'm agreeing with Karen's in the chat room. Barbara is my favourite. I think she is the one that's got the most, how can we put this? Originality, I think. It's slightly old-fashioned, but boy, is that fun. I think out of all the ones that have gone through, it's a lot of fun. I'm hoping David is around. David, what's your take on the Portugal songs that have gone through? I think he's experiencing some technical difficulties.
Be honest,
David, are you there?
I was.
Andy's gone again.
What he
But
wants.
I think he's got proper technical difficulties this evening, guys. If we manage to get David's opinions, we will come back to him later on in the show. But guys, out of the four we've seen that have gone through, what one would you tip for the win, Joe?
Barbara, every time.
Phil?
Yeah, Barbara, definitely.
Michelle?
Barbara. Oh no, I shouldn't agree with Phil, so I'm going to go with Throws.
Yeah, you're just, yeah. You're just trying to be awkward now, love. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're just trying to be awkward.
Sweet,
But I think we can safely say that here at ESC Fan TV, we are definitely saying that Barbara is our favourite to go through. And for the moment, if we can get David back, then we'll get his opinions. But for the moment, we're going to call that as Portugal, for the moment, done. And you know what? I hit the wrong button. Do you know what? This is why I need someone doing the tech with me.
It's technical night, though, isn't it? Don't worry about it. It's one of those.
Never mind, guys. Never mind. Right. Let's see. I'm going to just see if we can actually get David back.
Oh, bless him.
I think he's having some real problems. I think he's frozen again. Oh, well. Never mind. I tell you what, guys. Let's talk about Belgium. There we go. Let's move on. Belgium, as promised last week, loads of people commenting in the chat room they were very much turning around and saying, guys, why aren't you looking at Belgium? Now, obviously, hopefully, this has given you the opportunity to seek out the fantastic Alina, who's done a lovely interview with the Hooverphonics, and talk to them about their song, Release Me. This is what they're going to be sending to Rotterdam, and they're aiming to qualify with. Let's take a look at the song and see what we think. Okay, so Release Me, the Hooverphonics from Belgium. Guys, what are we thinking?
Shall I go first?
Go on, Phil.
Go on. You know what? I really wanted to like this because it started off and it was nicely orchestrated and it was a little bit haunting. But it just seemed to be missing something. And I think the problem with it is I don't know how it's going to be staged. You know, it's all very well having the camera angles with the orchestra and the strings in the background. But at the end of the day, she's like just stood there singing. And the other problem I had with it is it seemed to go on a bit. And, you know, by about the
like you.
fourth or fifth Release Me, I just wanted to be released myself, really. Sorry.
Beg your pardon. Well, anyway, it's Karen's has put that it's a James Bond type song, but it's a real grower, which is the problem. You can't have a grower in Eurovision. 90% of the people that are going to vote for you at Eurovision, they're going to hear it that night and vote for it. So unless you can do something that people remember, you're going to get lost. It was all a bit Portishead for me, which, you know, says it all, really. It's just, you know, no amount of drinking is going to make it good.
Oh, come on. I disagree. I disagree with that comment.
Yeah, but you're wrong.
Oh, do you know what? I've waited 12 months for you to say that to me again, Michelle. It just feels slightly comforting these days. When we first started, I was a bit like, you know, oh, now I'm just like, oh, it's like a comfort blanket being handed to me. I like being wrong. I often am.
Welcome to the club.
Oh, Joe, Hooverphonics, what are we thinking?
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed, I have to say. I don't think it's their fault though. I think it's more mine in the sense of I was expecting probably too much. But you know, it's a dreamy song, isn't it? It's a nice song. It's pleasant. It goes through 3 minutes, and you think, yeah, that was okay, but it's not that bite to it. So, I mean, again, as the guys have said before here, I think you need something sort of like just something to grab and like. So whether they bring that in on the live performance, I don't know. But they've got a couple of months to work on it. That's the main thing, and they're professional, and they've got a lot of gigs coming up, so they can go through it. They can practice with their audiences and everything. And
To be honest, I like the song. I think there's a lot to be said for it. I think it's going to depend on the staging. I'm looking at some of the comments in the chat room. Random Danish guy, Belgium is a grower. I know Michelle pulled up on that and said, you know, that songs don't necessarily grow in Eurovision, but there are some songs, let's face it, where the staging's managed to pull them up. Belgium, Karen's James Bond type of song, really like it. Dark and Mysterious, love it. It's a real grow up for me. Martin Palmer, it's a moody Hooverphonic song. What did we expect? Oh my god, that's too rhymey. It's John Boy's third favourite so far. Lee Fern says, Release Me is a good enough song, but it's not just for Eurovision. It's far too slow. Martin reckons it's top 3 with the juries. Lake Malawi, 7 points for televoters. Guys, I believe we have we've lost David. It's a shame. David's given us his thoughts on Portugal. He said, And I'm sorry, Phil and Michelle, that totally blocks you out. I'll tell you what, hang on. I'll go like this for a second. Block myself out. That didn't work either. I feel sorry, but the internet's just a nightmare. I was going to say the 4 qualifiers were very deserved. Filippo was a surprise one. Elisa was the best voice. Barbara did very staging show. But it looks like we have a surprise guest this evening. And it's a very good evening too. Andy, hello.
Hi, hello, good evening. Michelle, I've missed you.
I love you,
since
Andy.
Since our date in Filey.
I know, it was lovely.
It was lovely. Fish and chips and Michelle, what more could you ask for?
Oh,
Chips and wine.
Oh,
Chips and wine.
Hello, Joe. Hello, Tom. Hello, Phil.
hello, lovely.
it's fantastic to see you.
I've had my tea,
Yeah.
so I thought I'd join you.
Oh, thank you. We're just going over David's comments because David's Wi-Fi has sadly dropped out. He's unable to
Not for the
rejoin us.
first time.
But he says that Movimento was very electric, and also feels sorry for Blast the Mirror. But like I say on the show beforehand, because he did do the preview show, sorry, I should say, a few weeks ago. This was always going to be a tough semi-final.
Nobody is going to come close to Salvador Sobral. I saw him in London on Thursday of last week. He's just brilliant live. Really, really, really good.
Oh, do you know what? I was supposed to go and see that as well, but unfortunately, circumstances didn't allow it.
Oh, it's a shame.
So-
The very best thing he did was rap. He stuck his head under the roof of the piano and did rap in Portuguese and English, and it was just absolutely amazing.
Fantastic. Now, we've been talking about Belgium, Andy. Do you have any thoughts on Release Me for Belgium?
Well, I quite like it, but they didn't learn anything from 2 years ago when they sent a sub James Bond song. So it's a risk to go with the same sort of thing again. But if it works, it could do really well.
Now, do you know what? And I think it is. I think it's all to do with the staging on it. But guys, I think we've spent enough time talking about Belgium so far. Do you know what I'm going to call? And I'm actually going to make sure I hit the right button this time. This is Belgium done. Now, the final 2 topics of the night, alas, we don't have video clips for. I can't seem to find a good enough quality of Tom Leeds, The Best in Me, to bring to you this evening. So we're going to have a quick discussion on France, and then we're going to have a look at the UK rumour mill as well. So first of all, Tom Leeds, The Best in Me, it was unveiled a week ago yesterday, co-written by a very familiar face to Eurovision, one Mr. John Lundvik, singer of Too Late for Love, and songwriter or co-songwriter of last year's UK entry Bigger Than Us. The performance in front of the Eiffel Tower, I mean, let's face it, massively iconic. But what do we think of the actual song? Don't forget to get your comments in the chat bar, but let's go straight to Joe with our thoughts on this one.
I again, very pleasant. Easy listening. That's how I would sort of word that. Easy listening, so that you can sort of get behind. But at the same time, you know, it needs something special. I mean, I think they need the Eiffel Tower in the Ahoy and him on there, and then he'll win. You know, I don't think it's a winner, but it's pleasant enough. And you never know. You never know. But John Love written all over it, really, hasn't he? Though, you know, it's just nice. That's what I want to say. Very nice.
Yeah, there is a particular style there. I mean, Andy, where would you see this heading in the grand final in Rotterdam in May?
Well, it's not as good a song as they sent in 2016, but it is obviously trying to milk that vibe. He's not as good a singer from what I've heard as their singer in 2016, and he's not as good looking. Mid-table's the highest you can expect, I would think. And worst of all, why would France subcontract writing a song to two Swedes and come up with something as middle of the road as that? It's a big disappointment.
Oh, interesting, because
I could do that all for you in French if you like.
Well,
no, I couldn't.
I just wouldn't understand
that's the
it.
point.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that is the problem.
Your views are echoed by a random Danish guy. Tom Lee was a bit of a letdown for me. All that big show at the Eiffel Tower for that. I mean, it sounds like a bit like the music playing in the Coca-Cola commercials. But do you know what? I think the song's a bit like Marmite. Martin Palmer, handsome man, the Eiffel Tower looked amazing lit up, tried his best to sell it. This isn't that interesting and vote-worthy. Yeah, but then I think you've got to remember that the voters at Eurovision sometimes actually vote on the singer rather than the song, and the staging rather than the song as well. I know I'm going back in history, but I have to say, I know I'm in good company with this one, but let's look at Latvia 2002 and throw that one out there, where the staging most definitely won that for Marie N back then. Obviously, the contest was a different beast in those times. Phil and Michelle, what are our thoughts?
Oh, I was really disappointed because I don't want to upset our French viewers.
Oh, it's his sad voice.
Because I think, France must have some really talented songwriters. So why did they just rope in a few Swedes to get a Swedish sounding song with English lyrics? I mean, France sending a song with English lyrics. It's just so disappointing because we all know France can do better. This sounds like the sort of stuff that the BBC have been getting Swedish writers to send for us, and look how well we've done with it. It's just not very good.
You need a hug.
We need to send the yellow vests in, don't we? Get them out on the street. Burn the streets down until they send a proper song in French with a proper songwriter in French.
I wasn't gonna bring this up, but since you guys seem to be biting ever so slightly, I did have an interesting conversation with long-term ESC Fan TV statistician Tristan yesterday evening. And he was talking about the fact that essentially, once you represent one country, that's it. You should stay a representative for that country. And my point back to him was, well, surely if you're going to do that, it's a song contest. It should be the songwriters. Should there be a rule introduced into this contest whereby songs can only be written by someone that holds citizenship in that country? So they can't parachute Swedes in. They'll have to go with French songwriters. Same with the UK. They can't parachute Americans or Swedes in. They'll have to go with British songwriters and things.
No, but I think it'd be fair enough to say that they should be working in the music industry in the country they represent.
Mm.
And the same with the singers.
If you can just get anybody from any country to write a song and any singer from any other country to represent your country, then why are we even bothering with countries?
Because you get around this if you insisted that the countries sent songs in their own languages. That would solve this problem.
Yeah.
But then again, that's not really fair either, because it gives us an advantage because a lot of people, English is their second language. And so
I think maybe every year we should do it in a different language. Start with A and work your way down, and then just sing it in every year. Just pick a different language, and everyone has to sing in that language.
That could be
very interesting.
Entertaining, I think.
Yeah.
Entertaining.
There you go.
That could be very entertaining. It's an interesting thought, and I just thought, I would throw it out there. John Boy in the chat room says they should have kept Destination Eurovision. Do you know what, John Boy? I think I agree with you. I love Destination Eurovision. In actual fact, I was compiling yet another Eurovision playlist on a well-known music account last night, and I have to say there were 3 songs from last year's Destination Eurovision that made it onto the playlist, and none of them were Bilal either.
No. Simone.
Oh yes, definitely Simone.
Bardi.
Yeah, Kimem Vardy. And what do you reckon the other one was, though?
Oh, I don't know. Actually, I just need to do.
But it was diminishing returns. The first one was really good. The second one was all right.
True, but I still thought
A bit like Australia, although I hope Patrick's not listening. First one was great. Second one was rubbish.
I disagree. I quite like Montaigne, but at the same time, you know, I think there's some interesting discussions to be had there. Now, guys, I tell you what, shall we say? I think that is for now, and there will be a comprehensive French song review coming to ESC Fan TV next month. But for now, that is France done. Right, come on then, let's indulge you all. The UK rumour mill. I've put is the UK rumour mill in too much overdrive, I'll be perfectly honest. Because I mean, let's face it, if they hadn't have announced a date soon, it'd be coming out that it was the Wombles representing us again. Quite frankly, they would have dragged Uncle Bulgaria out of retirement. Right. Who do we think is going to be announced as the UK representative in Rotterdam in May? It's coming out on Thursday night. Andy, straight to you, first of all. What do we think?
Do you want to know who it is, or do you want to wait until Thursday so the suspense isn't spoilt?
Well, it depends. Are you going to get in trouble for revealing
I'm
it?
always in trouble. It's JLS.
Is that what we think? JLS.
We think Mabel is a bit of a distraction.
Stu also says that it's JLS. I'm not convinced, because I'm not convinced they're with BMG at the moment. That's why.
Oh, everybody's with BMG. It's the nature of their publishing deal.
Interesting.
Well, the thing is, anyone can say anything on Twitter, and it gets latched onto, and it goes around, and everyone retweets it, and people just believe in anything at this stage.
I think we should just pick bands with initials like that. So I hope it's the KLF.
They'd be good. But the difference is that you know me, so you can tell the difference between rumour and fact, can't you?
This is true.
Oh yeah, Andrew. Andy, you don't know anything. You just make any old crap up, the same as we do.
I hope it's Cliff Richard.
XTT.
Cliff Richard.
OMD.
Tonight.
Listen, I didn't come
John
on here
Newman.
to be insulted. I broke off from my evening's entertainment on Grindr to come and tell you who the UK representative is, and all you can do is take the piss out of me.
Yeah. What do you want,
I don't
Andy?
know why I bother. I really don't know why I bother.
Medal?
Eh?
Now.
What does Joe think?
It's Ariana Grande.
Joe, what do you think?
I just think that just for the rumours. I just want it to. I just want them to do it. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if it was someone we never heard of, or someone new, or someone who won a talent show, and everything else, and just as it was, and all this was just personally. Probably going to be something. We're all going to be disappointed. You know we are. We're going to be like, hey.
Do you know what? I'm not. I'm going to be thrilled with whoever it is. But I would really like.
I agree. I particularly don't want a really sort of famous name, in my opinion. I don't think it should be that way. I think it should be someone who's a brilliant singer, fabulous song, but not necessarily the most famous person in the UK.
I have to say, Karen just said it's a song written by one of the most successful writers in Eurovision in the last 10 years. All I can think of is Laurel Barker at the moment, and I know that's not the right answer.
She's not successful.
That's more for Elliot's benefit than anyone else's. long-time viewers will know that Elliot is currently doing a Laurel Barker countdown.
It might be Charlie Mason who wrote Rise Like a Phoenix.
Interesting. Very
Okay.
interesting. I mean, let's be perfectly honest, right? And I'm going to have to throw this out there because I never thought there were that many rumours about who was going to represent Ireland. I didn't think there was ever that many rumours about who was going to represent France or Netherlands or things like that. Do we think the UK rumour mill is a bit OTT? I mean, tonight, John Newman is the latest rumour. Why? Because someone's stalked someone on Twitter and gone, well, someone's brother, and they've followed Ken Bruce, and that means that it's person X. You know, what's our take?
What
Go on,
else have we
Michelle.
got to talk about?
Well, there is that.
It's the same. It's the same every year with like rumours and all things. It's like everyone, the whole of Europe, either wants us to bomb or wants us to win, and that I think that's the long and short of it. So everyone is interested in what's happening with us.
Do you remember when Bonnie Langford was going to be doing it? It turned out to be Bonnie, but not Langford.
Yeah.
Bonnie Tyler.
Bonnie Taylor, yeah.
It eclipsed that one.
All the time. It's going to be, you know, every single year. It doesn't change, and yeah, I'm fed up with it. That was your answer from me.
Oh. Well,
It's going to be me. It's going to be me because I'm free, so I can
Well,
do it. I've got time on me.
we did hear a rumour, Michelle, that you were going to
Yeah.
be representing the UK this year with Daz
Okay,
Sampson
shut up.
with
Shut
the
up.
hit song
Shut up.
You're
Shut
My
up. Not
Favourite.
listening. No, I'm not listening. I'm not listening. No, I'm not
And the-
listening.
The German
I'm gonna
song
get
is going
Andy
to be
to play a
revealed
song.
on Thursday as well.
Yes.
Now
Song-
that's
song
Ali,
for
Ali
Rotterdam.
Ryan, isn't it?
No.
Could be interesting to see if it is. Could be interesting.
It might be
Now-
that we all
Yeah,
know
come on.
the German one more than we know the British one.
Well, yes. Either way,
Okay.
for those interested in finding out who the UK will be sending to Rotterdam this May, you can find out between about 9:30 and 10 o'clock on Thursday morning by listening to BBC Radio 1, BBC Radio 2, or the Sounds app, as Graham Norton very kindly informed us all in an announcement about an announcement on Saturday
Are you
night.
live blogging it?
And I'll be honest, I don't know what's entirely happening, but I know there will be an extra special ESC Fan TV show on Thursday early evening when we're giving our reaction to the news. And obviously, we'll follow that up with something in bite size, I think, given this discussion next week as well. Now, guys, I hate to say it, but I think that's the end of the show. Oh,
I'm just getting in my stride.
I know. Andy, you should have joined us sooner. Now, guys, don't forget, coming up on ESC Fan TV, we've got a couple of days break, but we're back on Thursday with an extra special UK show. But we're doing the double on Thursday anyway, because you can join us for a discussion and a preview of one of Saturday's fantastic national finals on Thursday night as well. And then we'll be back on Friday night looking at Romania as well. There's loads more to come. In the meantime, make sure you click the like and subscribe button so you can be kept informed of all the latest updates. Go find us. We're on Twitch, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. You'll find us there. Like and subscribe. Keep up to date with all the goings on. And you can also have a chat to us as well. Now, all that remains for me to say is a massive thank you to my lovely panel. A big thank you to Joe.
Thank you, everyone. See you soon.
Massive thanks to Phil and Michelle.
Thanks, it's been great. Thanks,
Thanks.
bye.
And a big thank you to our special guest this evening, special guest status, Andy Brooke.
Thank you very much. And good night, David.
Yes, and a big thanks to David as well. We'll see you next time. In the meantime, it's bye for now. Bye.
Bye.